what better way to start the year with a Vanguard UK and Vanguard Australia 2025 portfolio update. I'm going to be telling you exactly everything that I have invested, how much and into what accounts I'm specifically using. But first, I know Vanguard UK have increased their fees. I've made separate videos on that. Fortunately, as we're going to see, because I have more than £32,000, I'm not impacted. But if you are impacted, watch those videos because it might be worth you switching to another platform to lower your fees. But back to my own Vanguard UK and Australia accounts. The start of the year is the perfect time to actually look at how much you have, start tracking it if you're not already, and actually set a goal for how much you want to invest in 2025. For me personally, I'm going to try and invest £20,025. Last year in 2024, I managed just shy of £18,000. This video is sponsored by absolutely no one. But I wanted to quickly say, and you probably don't know this because I'm terrible at promoting my own stuff, but I've got a podcast, the Making Money Simple podcast. On there, I upload episodes every couple of weeks on anything to do with personal finance and investing. So if you're looking for something to listen to that is money related, maybe on the tube, on the train, in the car, check out my podcast and I hope you enjoy it.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Jumping first of all into my Vanguard UK portfolio, you can see in total I have £57,422.89. I make this caveat every single time, but firstly, this has not been built up overnight. This has taken me since 2018 when I first opened up my Vanguard UK account, and it's been consistent contributions for many years. And to be honest with you, when I talk about contributions, one of the only things in our control as investors is our own contributions. Fortunately, since 2021, when I qualified as a chartered accountant, I've earned a decent salary, so I've been able to put a decent amount away into investments, whether in the UK or in Australia since then. All of that money is in one fund, the FTSE Global All Cap, and it's split across my stocks and shares ISA and my SIPP, with the large majority in my stocks and shares ISA. My SIPP is a much smaller pot. But both of those investment accounts, both of those wrappers, which do have different pros and cons, only have one fund inside of those wrappers, and that is the FTSE Global All Cap. There's also £2.2 of cash. I have no idea why. It's been there for a while. I'll probably just leave it there, to be honest with you. I very rarely look at the analytics and the insights, but if I actually look at my portfolio performance since I started back in August 2018, you can see I've made just over £17,000 in gains across my Vanguard UK portfolio, which translates to a 108% return. I know what you're thinking. The numbers aren't adding up. The math ain't mathing, but it's because Vanguard calculate that number using a time-weighted rate of return or internal rate of return. If you just take the equity or value you've got and the cost and do a straight line calc, it doesn't actually take into account when you contributed those pounds. So even though the percentage seems weird based on my cost and value, it actually takes into account when each pound or £100 was invested, and that then works out the time-weighted rate of return. And the general idea is that as the market goes up slowly over time, those pounds you invested longer ago would have grown more than any pounds you'd invested yesterday. If I then filter this same screen to just 2024, you can see how good of a year the market's had. I didn't contribute anything into my Vanguard UK account in 2024 because I was using my Vanguard Australia account. More on that in a sec. But you can see I made 23.26%, and that's simply by holding global funds, specifically the FTSE Global All Cap. This here is the fund page of the FTSE Global All Cap, and I've made many videos on why I use global funds and why I specifically use the FTSE Global All Cap. But in short, why do I use global funds? To keep my approach as simple and as diversified as possible. And why do I use the FTSE Global All Cap? Because that is the most globally diversified fund that Vanguard offer, and arguably probably the most globally diversified fund in the UK as well. If anyone knows of any other funds or ETFs that are more diversified or as diversified, please let me know. And going back to the 2024 returns, not every year is like this by any stretch of the imagination. I did make a separate video on my gains in 2024 across my entire portfolio, including pensions and crypto, and just how good they were. But the power of investing really is by actually investing and participating and contributing consistently every single month, you're giving yourself the chance to grow your wealth, beat inflation, and get some good returns. And that is a wrap on my Vanguard UK portfolio. I'm not going to be contributing to it again this year, so any growth I get or loss I get from this amount will purely be from capital gains or losses, depending on how the market and specifically how the FTSE Global All Cap does. And that's because I'm currently investing my dingo dollars whilst living and working in Australia in my Vanguard Australia account. You can see here in my Vanguard Australia account, I've got 37,512,000 dingo dollars that I invested through Vanguard Australia. I opened this account, I think it was in April 2023, and the gains there are just over $6,000. And to be honest with you, I'm following a very similar methodology to what I was doing with my Vanguard UK account, automatically investing into global funds every single month. Specifically in my Vanguard Australia account, I'm using a fund called VGS, and the long name for that is Vanguard MSCI Index International Shares ETF, essentially a low-cost global ETF that invests into countries and companies all around the world. And that is the beauty of the sort of three-step blueprint that I talk about, of choosing a low-fee platform, choosing an account, hopefully with tax advantages, and choosing a low-fee fund. For me, it's personally a global fund. You can just apply that to anywhere you are in the world if you have access to invest in, automate it, and then just grow your wealth slowly over the long term. Unfortunately, in Australia, there is no stocks and shares ISA equivalent, so I'm having to use a general investment account. That does mean when I return to the UK and come back to the motherland at some point, I would need to sell everything, pay any tax that's due before moving the money back. Of course, in the UK, having a stocks and shares ISA is just absolutely massive, and it's the best investing account probably in the world from looking into Australia, America, and other developed countries. So if you aren't making the most of your stocks and shares ISA, make sure you do that. It is worth saying, I do have a Australia workplace pension, or a super, that's separate to my Vanguard Australia portfolio, and the company that I have that with is called Mercer. But once again, of course, all the money is going into another global fund inside my Aussie workplace pension. So that wraps up my Vanguard total portfolio update. So I've got £57,000 in my Vanguard UK account and 37,000 dingo dollars in my Australian Vanguard account, which is about £18,500. The plan this year in 2025 is to keep contributing every single month to my Vanguard Australia account, and I actually contribute fortnightly. So every 2 weeks, $700 comes out of my Australia current account and goes into my Vanguard Australia account, and then a few days after that, it's then automatically invested into VGS. A bit like with Vanguard UK, with Vanguard Australia, you can only buy ETFs in full units. So I normally have a bit of residual cash left over, but most of it normally gets invested every couple of weeks. And then once that residual cash builds up to a good level, I'll then manually buy some shares every few months. So one fund in my Vanguard UK Stocks and Shares ISA and SIPP, and one fund in my Vanguard Australia General Investment account, just literally using global funds, the simplest way to build and grow my wealth slowly over the long term, hopefully beat inflation, which I think I have done so far since investing, and hopefully one day live off of these investments and retire early. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to let me know in the comments below what your plan is for 2025. Are you increasing your contributions, keeping them the same? Are you changing your investing approach? I'll be really interested to hear, so let me know in the comments. I'll be making future Vanguard portfolio updates throughout the year. I generally try and do one every few months, so I'll let you know how these numbers change as hopefully the markets have another good year. But I really appreciate you watching. Let me know if you've got any questions at all. I'd love to help you out, and I'll see you in the next one.